It's Amy, your Gray Girlfriend, and welcome to the Gray Girlfriend's Guide to Life podcast. First, let me say that I'm so happy and grateful that you're here with me. Out of the more than 3 million podcasts available, you chose this one, so thank you. This podcast was created for high-achieving women, real women who face and conquer real challenges, real women who are ready to take their lives to the next level. Between us all, we've been through it all, and I'm here to tell you, you can thrive despite it. So whether you're commuting to or from work or doing one of the other 50,000 things you do on a weekly basis, pop in your earbuds, my friend, and let's go. Welcome to the Gray Girlfriend's Guide to Life podcast. This is your host, Amy Blair Lawson. Today's episode is entitled, Turning Anger into Boundaries. If you are a high-achieving woman, your anger is not random and it is not a flaw. It is a precision instrument that has very likely been muted or overruled or weaponized over the years, usually in the service of being, quote-unquote, reasonable or accommodating or endlessly available. You know better than to explode, and you're tired of imploding. What you want is a way to work with anger that feels clean and honest and emotionally elegant. This is not basic anger management. This is about learning to metabolize anger so quickly and deeply that it becomes a source of clarity and boundaries and self-respect without burning down what you've spent years building. You can be self-aware and still react. Intellectually, you already know that anger is quote-unquote just an emotion. Yet in the moment, after the late-night text or the last-minute request or the dismissive comment in a meeting, your body tells a different story. Your heart pounds, your jaw tightens, insomnia kicks in because the mental replay won't stop. This is your nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do. Anger is a rapid response to a perceived threat or an injustice or a boundary violation. One part of your brain is scanning for danger and saying, hey, protect yourself, push back, do something. And another part of your brain, the more strategic executive brain, is trying to keep the bigger picture in mind. When you're exhausted or overextended or carrying years of unspoken resentment, the protective part wins the race. You can be emotionally intelligent and trauma-informed and deeply resourced and still send a text you regret when your nervous system is in full alarm. That doesn't make you, quote-unquote, too emotional. It means the situation and the history and the load you're carrying have outpaced your current tools. The good news is that tools can be upgraded. In my one-on-one containers, programs powered by Rapid Transformational Therapy, also known as RTT, I don't just teach strategies to manage anger on the surface. My programs access the subconscious mind, where the original wiring around anger and safety and worthiness and belonging live. And then I update the script. When your inner programming changes, your outer reactions become radically easier to transform. So the goal is to regulate first and respond later. High-achieving women are used to pushing through and performing under pressure, and that skill has served you. But it's also why anger can come out sideways sometimes, after a long day, or in a throwaway comment, or directed at the safest person in the room. The first upgrade is the simple, non-negotiable rule. Do not ask your mind to be wise when your nervous system is in full-on alarm mode. So before you send the email, or before the talk, or before the confrontation, regulate your nervous system. I'm going to share 4 refined grown woman regulation practices. Here's the first. Use elegant breath work that doesn't feel gimmicky. Try a 4-4-8 pattern. You inhale through your nose for a slow count of 4. You hold for 4, and then you exhale through your mouth for a count of 8. So let's try it. I'm going to do the counting, and you're going to do the breathing. So here we go. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do it again. You breathe, I'll count. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can do this in a boardroom or in the car or even in your kitchen without anyone knowing it. The extended exhale tells your body, hey, you're not in immediate danger. And that softens the physiological wave of anger so the thoughtful part of you can come back online. Here's a second practice. Take a conscious pause, communicate it as a leader. Stepping away from a situation is not avoidance when you name it clearly. When you say something like, this conversation matters to me and I want to handle it well, so I need 10 minutes to cool off and then I'm available to continue. This, my friend, is self-leadership. You take responsibility for your state before you take responsibility for someone else's feelings. Here's the third practice. Use your senses to ground yourself. This is so simple and so powerful. So when you're spiraling in your head, bring your awareness into your body in the room you're in. Name to yourself the following things. Name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. As I said, this practice is simple, it's easy, and it's highly effective. This practice allows you to pull yourself out of the story and back into the present moment. And here's the 4th practice. Use brief, deliberate movement. Walk around the block. Stretch with intention. Shake out your hands. You don't have to quote unquote work out your anger. You just need to give your muscles and fascia a chance to discharge the energy that anger pumps into them. When you build a habit of regulating first, you stop confusing urgency with importance. You give the wisest, most grounded part of you time to take the mic. So once your nervous system is regulated, it's time to upgrade the story, and I'll tell you what I mean by this. Once your nervous system is no longer in red alert, the real work begins at the level of story. Anger rarely shows up alone. It tends to arrive with a familiar narrative, such as, they never take me seriously, or I give everything and it's still not enough, or people always end up disappointing me, or if I don't fix this, no one will. These narratives are not random. They're often subconscious conclusions you formed years ago, sometimes as a child, sometimes in early career or relationships. Then they're reinforced through repetition. In RTT, we go directly to those earlier experiences. We uncover the root of the original decisions, such as, I can't count on anyone but myself, or my needs don't matter, or it's safer to stay quiet, and we rewire it. And once that work is done, the story that rides on the top of your anger becomes easier to update in real time. Here's some practical ways to start. First, start by separating facts from meaning. We do this because facts are neutral. They only have the meaning we give them, and that is where your power lies. For example, suppose you have a friend that frequently cancels lunch 10 minutes before you're supposed to meet, and it wasn't an emergency. So you tell yourself it means that you're not a priority, that people always blow you off. So remember, facts are neutral. They only have the meaning we give them. After you separate facts from meaning, then you intentionally generate alternative explanations. Ask yourself, if I had to create 3 other possible explanations for this, explanations that don't make me small or them evil, what might they be? Now, you're not excusing bad behavior, mind you. You're loosening the grip that the most inflammatory story has on you. Then after you do that, you use the wise friend lens. What I mean by that is this. If your best friend described the situation to you, how would you see it? What would you reflect back to your best friend? This technique instantly adds compassion and nuance that tend to vanish when you're in the center of your own anger. Now, you're not talking yourself out of legitimate anger. You're cleaning up the distortions such as mind reading or catastrophizing or overgeneralizing that turn anger from a clear signal into a runaway narrative in your head. We can't express anger without self-betrayal or fallout. Many high-achieving women learned early on that anger is dangerous. If you show anger, you get labeled as too much or too sensitive or too difficult. So you learn to either clamp down hard until you snap, or you try to stay perpetually above it, quietly swallowing your resentment until it leaks out in sarcasm or withdrawal or exhaustion, or worse, you explode like a cheap rocket you bought at a convenience store for the 4th of July. The alternative to this is assertive, grounded expression. Anger that serves truth, not anger that fuels your own destruction. So the next time you have to have a difficult conversation, here's a sentence structure I want you to try. When you do blank, I feel like blank. I need blank. Stick with me. This will make sense. Go back to the friend who frequently cancels lunch plans 10 minutes before you're supposed to meet. Here's an example of what you would say to that friend. When you change our plans at the last minute, I feel disregarded. I need more advance notice. Not so hard, is it? What this does, it focuses on behavior, not identity. When you say, I'm not okay that you frequently cancel at the last minute, This focuses on behavior, not identity. Saying, I'm not okay that you frequently cancel at the last minute is very different from saying, you are a rude bitch for canceling on me at the last minute. The first addresses a moment. The second attacks a person. High-achieving women don't need to resort to character assassination to be powerful. Next, you want to choose your window and your room. So what do I mean by that? Difficult, high-stakes conversations deserve thoughtful timing and context. That might mean not litigating everything at 11:30 p.m. in the bedroom, and not calling out your colleague in front of their peers, and not sending the email when you're shaking mad. Save the notes and speak when your nervous system has settled. By the way, if you notice that even the idea of saying I need makes you feel tense, that, my friend, is a beautiful cue. That usually points directly to what's playing in your subconscious mind. It's pointing to those old rules about being low maintenance, about what it costs to have needs, about belonging and approval. And that's the level RTT is designed to access and recode. You can turn anger into boundaries and standards and change. Well-processed anger is one of your most elegant boundary tools. It says, something here is no longer aligned with who I'm becoming. The work is to listen and translate, not to shame yourself for feeling it. Here are a few reflection questions to use after the wave of anger passes. Ask yourself, what specifically was not okay for me here? Which of my values is being stepped on? Respect, honesty, reciprocity, sovereignty of my own time? What standard or boundary wants to be articulated or updated? Depending on the facts of the situation, the answer might look like the following. It may look like renegotiating a role or a rate or responsibility. It may no longer be in the default emotional manager in your family or team or friend group. Or it may look like creating a new policy, personal or professional, that protects your energy and time. From an RTT perspective, we then anchor those boundaries not just as rules, but as an identity shift from the one who holds everything to the woman who leads her life and relationships with clarity and self-respect. When your identity shifts, your nervous system stops fighting you every time you try to say no. So how do you know it's time for deep, transformative work? If your anger feels chronic or disproportionate or frightening, either to you or the people you love, it's time for more than punching a pillow or screaming at an empty chair or journaling on the topic for the 100th time. Here are some signs to pay attention to. If you have explosive reactions that leave you feeling ashamed or confused afterwards, if you have reoccurring conflict patterns in your closest relationships, if you have long-standing bitterness or resentment you can't seem to shift, if you have a sense that your anger is not just about the current event or current trigger, if you sense that your anger is connected to old stories of not being seen or chosen or safe or valued, then it's time for RTT. In these cases, working on the subconscious level is often the missing piece. Rapid transformational therapy, also known as RTT, combines the best of talk therapy, neurolinguistic programming, and hypnotherapy to uncover the original experiences where your nervous system learned this is how anger works. Then we shift the meanings and beliefs you created in those moments. And then we install new aligned beliefs around safety and worthiness and self-expression. When you do this work, you're not just managing anger, you are rewriting the internal script that used to make anger feel dangerous or forbidden or uncomfortable. The result is a calmer baseline and faster recovery when you are triggered, and a way of relating to your own emotions that feels deeply dignified. If you're a high-achieving woman and you're ready to reclaim your anger as an ally instead of an enemy, this is the work we can do together, privately and intentionally and at a depth you've been craving. And with that, allow me to say this. May you remember that your fire is not a flaw. May you have the courage to listen when your body says enough. And may your yes and your no carry the weight of a woman who trusts herself. I'm wishing you peace and plenty of self-trust. Until next time, this is Amy, your gray and self-trusting girlfriend. Hey, it's Amy. Did you know that what we tell ourselves about ourselves impacts every decision we make? Every decision. So if you're feeling stuck in any aspect of your life, RTT can help. Want to know more? Go to amyblairlawson.com or click on the calendar link in the show notes to schedule your complimentary 30-minute consultation. Oh, one last thing. I can't forget the legal stuff. You know what I'm talking about. The language a lawyers write that I have to read to you. Well, here it goes. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. While I am a rapid transformational therapy practitioner, a certified divorce financial analyst, and a licensed investment advisor, this podcast is not intended as a substitute for a private session or a consultation. Got it? All right. Until next time, wishing you peace and plenty of all good things.